patent prosecution from idea to grant. Many a times that the word idea that I have used purposefully because this is a jargon which is used by the researchers. I have an idea. Idea means what? Idea means for you something in your brain, something which is not yet completed the stage of idea. Idea means for me, for law, something that has reached the stage of protectability, that has reached a stage of basic understanding of invention. Idea means I have carried out basic research in the field of that particular technology or science from the perspective of patents. I have understood what others are doing. I have understood the problem and I have come up with a solution for it. Now, when you come up with that solution for a problem which is existing or it may exist in future, you have germinated the idea. This is a basic stage of idea. Thereafter, we have to see whether others are doing something similar. Thereafter, we have to see whether there is already a patent on it. And my idea, which I call it as idea, whether that infringes somebody else's idea, which is already protected. Start there. Invention does not always mean commercialization. Your own invention can put you in the trouble. Example, three-legged stool doesn't have the firmness problems. Anybody who's sitting on it may topple down. I come up with a solution. I've attached fourth leg to that particular stool. Simple solution. Solve the problem. Got it? It gives the firmness. Probability of person sitting on it getting toppled down, falling, less. But the person who has developed three-leg stool has a patent on it. And the validity of that patent is around 10 years from now. What to do? I'll get a patent for fourth leg stool. But if I manufacture that four-legged stool, because it still has three legs, and his claim has into it a three-legged stool, I am infringing his patent. Question mark? Solution. I go for a fourth leg patent. I make an application for an invention. Of course, not of the entirety. I say the problem with the existing state of art is it doesn't have the firmness. Person may fall down. I have added fourth leg. I am entitled for the fourth leg. I get a patent for it, specific for the fourth leg. I go to the person who manufactures three-legged stool. I say, look, you have a problem. I have a solution. We can jointly manufacture four-legged stool. I'll pay you some royalty. But in future, you will be finished. Because the moment four-legged stool is out, your manufacturing will go down. Calculate the potential loss. Give him one time per unit in royalty. Something can be worked out. This fundamental is called as cross licensing of technologies. Simplest example I gave. Now let's go to the most difficult example. Sir is from chemistry background. I am also from chemistry background. So most comfortable zone for me is chemistry. Benzene ring with multiple groups attached to it. Aldehyde, ketone, something is there which is patented. I want to use one of that group, replace that group with something similar. Questions will be whether that will be obvious to the person skilled in that. Something replaceable from the ketone group by way of another ketone element. Is it an invention? Replacement of chlorine with bromine, is it an invention? Valency is same. Let's say you have used chlorine. I am using bromine. But the original patent says something benzene ring with a group attached to it having valency X. Out. Your invention, so-called invention idea, out. Research doesn't mean any abrupt research, any abstract research. Oh, I thought this is fantastic. I thought this is done. I'll start research. No. Research is a dynamic phenomena constantly going on all over the globe. Before investing single minute of mine, before investing my own penny into it, my research institute's penny into it, it's hard-earned money. I must understand what to start with. This is called as pre-research research. Research starts from here. And then we say we do not have multiple many inventions, or our inventions don't get patented. This is the reason. Because majority of the research institutes, including unfortunately top research institutes, do not understand this. I, as a research institute, if I develop something, even if I get a patent, if I am infringing somebody else's patent, which is a very large institute, doesn't need any money from me, they'll say, don't use it. What's the use of it? Start two things when you talk about research. Every researcher must today know what patent means, what patent database means. Free patent databases are available. At least start basic research of patent database. That's idea. When after going through those databases in your field of technology, you understand, yes, this is a field where there is a scope, enter into it. It doesn't guarantee you that you will ultimately succeed because of two things. Every patent application which is filed all over the globe gets publicized after 18 months. So every application is under mailbox, black box for 18 months. Today you are starting on vaccine. You don't know what others are doing. Corona 19 is just 1.5 years old. Risk. Commercial risk of wasting your time, your researchers' time, your team's time, your risk time. Think about all these aspects of patenting and research before doing this. So most reasonable way of doing it is, I want to do research on mobile technology, telephony. What is there in it? What is the latest part of it? Is there any patent on it? If there is a patent on it, whether they have covered everything. What is obvious? What is non-obvious? Whether something which is covered. Just now I gave an example. Instead of chlorine, bromine. Am I hit by a concept called doctrine of equivalence? Understand it. You can't now in this era say that, oh, I don't understand law. Absolutely zero. You are a bad researcher. Because ultimately you will land up investing your time, your money, somebody else's time, his money. Don't do those mistakes. Each idea, unless germinates into a final product, is a waste. I'll not name him here. In 2005, as a junior, I was doing some matter and I was required to go and meet some expert in the field of pharmaceuticals who worked with topmost pharmaceutical company as a R&D head for 30 years, having fantastic background of patenting because he was an examiner of a patent by himself. All that taken apart, he said, Alankar, I couldn't develop a single molecule which will. I have developed more than 30,000 molecules myself. Not a single is converted into a medicine. I have caused huge losses to my own company. Does that stop you from actually doing research? No. Because failure is a first step of success. I will not say anything negative about it. He did it. He created 30,000 molecules. Only where I think he was lacking, because he was junior of Nobel laureate Hargobind Khurana. What he told me, this is word of wisdom. I lacked one thing. I used to do abstract creation. Simple problem, simple solution to start. When you have identified a simple problem, do research on that particular field, go to a level where you will identify, yes, because you researchers can go very fast to that level. month or two. Yes, what else somebody has done? What others are doing? That's your starting point. Else, no profit. You will end up into doing something which is of no use to anyone. Every research must identify in itself associated problem, associated solution, associated commercial value. Techno commercial legal field. So let's get into this particular technical session with this background and this thing in our mind, and let's understand this. Importance of patents. Important source of scientific and technical literature. Basic of starting. A treasure house of scientific inventions. Avoid duplications. It paves way for your further discoveries. Most important, stop reinventing the wheel. Wheel was always there. Identifies emerging technologies and emerging areas. We must identify where my research should be, in which field. Am I as a researcher obsolete? If you are a researcher and you are obsolete because your technology and what you know is something which is obsolete, what's the point in it? Obsolescence in the field of technology and science so fast. We have seen what has happened to the wonderful instrument called telephone. We are seeing what's happening to the cameras now. We are seeing what's happening to the printers. Fax machine. Medicines. Majority of tuberculosis medicines we read, they are useless on the new variants. Area of concern. Problem. Solution. Start research. There lies your research area. What is not done, what can be done, non-obvious thinking. What does a patent do? We have just now seen this. Protects intellectual property for 20 years. This is what your rights are under section 48 we have just seen in the first session. Similarly, when we talk about your rights, others also have that rights. Your own research once culminate into product. If it infringes somebody else's product, what's the use of it? It's a statutorily granted right. Statute protects it. If you fit into that statute's requirements, yes, you will get that patent. It's a limited period timing for which you will get it. You have applied in 2001. In 2001, your examination takes place in 4-5 years. You will get a patent after this thorough examination. You have got a patent in 2001, which is in existence in 1st January 2021. Wonderful patented technology still has a life into it in having the obsolescence. What to do about it? Who can be the better inventor than the original inventor himself? Correct? Making sense? I have developed something in 2001. I know in 2021 it's going to lapse. I know the technology. If I keep on continuing the research in that field constantly till date, updating myself, in 2021 I can come up with another patent on this. Correct? Strategizing. Certain conditions are imposed on the patent when you get a patent, wherein experimental purposes, if you are using, or research purpose, teaching purpose, if you are using some patented literature or product, it doesn't amount to infringement. That's a wonderful part of it because we recognize the concept of Bolar exemptions, which even the United States recognizes it. Think about it. What is going off patenting? Have a data. I am a pharmaceutical company. What they do? They have a data of what is going off patenting. I'm a generic drug manufacturer. I know in 2029 this patent will be in the public domain. So I start research on this. This particular patent protects X. I will do something which is X plus 1. Though it is not patentable, I will be able to market it. For example, you might have gone to the doctor. Doctor, while prescribing you, recently, I don't know, this is something which has happened with me, prescribed me B complex with vitamin C. Both are known. Generic drug manufacturer has B complex added C to it. Whether I need it or I don't need it, but doctor has prescribed me. Let's consider B complex is a patented composition for a minute, for example. It's coming up, this patent is coming to an end in 2022 for January. As a generic drug manufacturer, I am ready with my applications. The moment it is coming into the market, I am entering into the market. For that reason, you can do patent research. These are all exemptions under the patent regime, which you, even if you are a patentee, you will not be able to stop somebody else from doing this. Something used by the government. We are having a lot of discussion going on today on Covaxin and Covishield and its patent regime and vaccines related patent regime licensing, something which government compels you to do. That is what we have seen in the case of Novartis. We have seen in many cases wherein, especially in the life-saving drugs, the government has said you will get this particular royalty from the manufacturers, but you have to give it. It's in public domain. Every manufacturer will give this much royalty to per product, whatever it may be, calculation. So this is something which we have to keep it in mind. That when we are actually developing life-saving drugs, this may happen to you. Idea. Even if you have a patent, you might have invested billions of rupees into it because converting a medicine, chemical composition into a pharmaceutical composition and a drug takes years together. Ultimately, you'll end up in developing a life-saving drug as a company. But the kind of revenue that you are thinking that you will generate is not happening because of this. Idea, where to start, what to do. Any article, apparatus, or machinery or its components are patentable. Any substance, whether living or non-living product, pharmaceutical product, any composition of matter, pharmaceutical products, any process, manner, or art of manufacturing other than essential biological process. Software per se is not patentable. Essentially covered by the copyright, but software embedded in a hardware, specifically used for a specific hardware. RoboSurgeon, new concept. Dentist who is robo. A software embedded in hardware which specifically give directions to that robot. Or this is the thing that you have to do X, Y, Z on this particular analysis. That particular software along with that hardware is patentable. Living product, as far as microbes are concerned, yes, they are patentable. For others, you are hit by section 3. I'll come to that. Section 2(1)(j). Invention means a new product or process involving an inventive step and capable of industrial application. So 3 requirements. It has to be a new product or process involving an inventive step. It should have an inventive step into it, and it should be capable of industrial application. Let's not consider right now because whatever is there normally it has a industrial application. So first 2. We have a case of wheel. So at one point of time, it was a wonderful invention. That's one of the wonderful invention mankind has ever created. It gave us the momentum that we wanted. Now see, novelty, non-obviousness, and industrial application. Wheel, it's a steering wheel. Non-obvious. The person who has first created the wheel has never thought of steering wheel. Maneuvering by virtue of a steering wheel is something which is patentable, though the wheel is known. I think this will explain you the concept of inventive step, non-obvious. Now, I have this kind of wheel which is used for Formula 1 or others. I use it for steering a ship. You engineers are here. Decide whether it is obvious or not. Doing the same thing, maneuvering of only in the waters. Obvious. So anything which is obvious to the person skilled in the art, if it is obvious to him, it is not patent. Same. It should not fall within the definition of section 3. I skipped that slide in the first session. Let's get into section 3 now. Because section 3 starts with the head note. Even though this particular thing is invention, it is new, still it is not patentable within the meaning of the act. That's why I said in the morning session, right and remedy, pigeonhole theory. We have to think when I am inventing something, I am starting my research. If I am starting my research in something which is not patentable, which is not protectable, why should I do it? And if I do it, then why should I crave afterwards, oh, I don't have any protection? Understand this. Invention definition excludes from it something which is published in India or elsewhere, prior knowledge, prior public use within India or abroad, claimed before in any specification in India. Something which is already claimed, you can't claim. The reversal is something which is not claimed, you can claim. There the lawyers come into, because we know how to read it reverse. Essentially, something which is claimed is part of complete specification. It may be obvious to an extent, but we argue it before the patent office. Look, in this particular complete specification, this is not claimed, hence it is disclaimed, hence I am entitled to claim. He could have claimed it, but he didn't, so I am entitled. Invention falling within this scope of Section 3 of the Patents Act 1970, inventions falling within the subsection 20, subsection 1 of section 20 of Atomic Energy Act 1962. So anything which is invented pertaining to these items is not protectable under the Patents Act. Beryllium, thorium, plutonium, this requires a lot of secrecy directions and defense related approvals. Section 3A says anything frivolous or anything obviously contrary to the well established natural laws. Contrary to the public order or morality, which will seriously prejudice to the human. In the morning, I gave an example of machine which will allow you to die. It is against, because Indian Patent Act specifically says that innovations and inventions are protected for betterment of humankind. Anything which is reverse cannot be patented. Mere discovery of a scientific principle or any formulation of abstract theory or discovery of any living thing or non-living substances occurring in nature, not patented. Mere discovery of a new form of a known substance which does not result in enhancement of the known efficacy of that substance. Here I want to stop. I want to give you an example and differences in Indian patent system and United States. United States recognizes new use of a known thing. India do not recognize that. So, a medicine which is already known for treatment of your liver, if you say that, oh, this can treat your brain also, you are not entitled to get that patent in India, but you are entitled to get that patent in United States. The concept of prior knowledge is also different. We made a lot of hue and cry, and I was also reading when I was doing MBA over here. Haldi patent, neem patent, all that we were talking. I was also not understanding. Oh, yes, we should not. But what was patented? We have never understood it. Our own research oriented people have told us, look, this is bad for India. Then we have created that website also. But understand one thing. traditional knowledge and all related websites, and knowledge is put on the, so that it should not be happening again. What was patented by way of a haldi patent? The patent was obtained for the extract from the haldi after removal of impurities from it for antibiotical treatment. United States recognizes this. Why? They say whatever is not known in United States is new. Conceptual difference, law difference, legal difference. So what we did, we created a website, we made it sure that traditional knowledge, whatever is known in India, will be known also in United States. Because if they get patents, our exports get hampered. Now, a substance obtained by a mere admixture resulting only in aggregation of the properties of the components thereof, or a process for producing such substance. Just mere admixture, not resulting in energetic effect. That's what I said. B complex with vitamin C. Each one acting separately. I may not be needing also C. Can't get patent for this. A mere arrangement or rearrangement of duplication of the known devices, each functioning independently of one another in known way. What we are doing right now, each one is working separately. We're just connecting with each other to give a representation. You can't patent like this. Each has a different function. Mere arrangement, rearrangement. If all this gives a different unknown thing in a synergetic way, yes, you are out of this. A method of agriculture and horticulture, because it is covered in entirely different. Any process for medical, surgical, curative, and other diagnostic for human beings and animals. It is not patentable in the interest of public at large. Otherwise, tomorrow your doctor will say, "Oh, this is a patented technology, the way of doing the surgery. So you have to pay this much bill for the patent holder." It's not possible. At least India will not, for next 100 years, will not accept this. So however great that invention may be, it's not possible to patent it. Plant and animals in whole or any part thereof other than microorganisms. That answers your question. But including seed, varieties and species, and essentially biological processes for production and propagation of plants and animals. What it means, microorganisms are patentable. A mathematical or business method or a computer program per se or algorithms. Now this, we will have another slide on this, and this is interpreted by Honorable High Court Delhi. It says that usage of the word per se means per se. If it is something more than that, it is patentable. Reverse of reading. So it is simply algorithm. It is not patentable. The definition, I'll just point out that there is a order also. In the next session, I think I'll have this slide on this. But keep it in mind that there is this. Now, if it is not per se, it's negative definition. If it is not per se algorithm or software, it is patentable. Take it in the positive. If we will explain what is technical effect, how it can be done. A literary dramatic because it is covered under the Copyright Act. Mere scheme or rule or method of performing mental act or method of playing. Topography, it is covered under another act, semiconductors. An invention which is in effect is a traditional knowledge, which I said. Now, process of patenting. Be curious, but do not disclose your invention. Keep a bound notebook to prove when you got the idea. Have a date, have a marking. Oh, I have got the idea on this day. Develop the idea and produce a prototype model, or in case of microorganisms or other scientific inventions, create a base to analyze its use. Every molecule invented cannot be a pharmaceutical medicine or chemically utilized. Keep it in mind. So you have to do research on it. Oh, this is the patentable thing. This is something which is already in existence. If I use this, if I use this in this manner, I can treat it in this manner. If you come to that level, then only. Just because your molecule is new, it is not known. It should not be unnecessary. You should not go into the patent unless it has some commercial value. Because every day I have met with some scientist in Hyderabad when I was representing on patents. He said every month we develop more than 30,000 molecules. We are just molecule developers. Let the pharmaceutical giants decide whether they want it or not. They just do the combinations here. So we have to keep it in mind what is having commercial value, where I am going in which direction. Research criteria. Ask these questions to you. Why your invention is needed? What are the existing products in the market? What is unique about your product if you are developing? Does it solve any problem associated with the state of art? I gave an example. 3-legged stool, 4-legged stools. Commercial valuation possible of your invention. That's why I said it's a commercial, techno-commercial legal. Where to file a patent? The appropriate office of the patent office shall be the head office of the patent office or its branch office. It depends upon from which area, geographical in India, you are coming from. Residence of applicant or domicile, the place of business or the place where the invention actually originated. If the applicant has no business or domicile in India, the address for service in India is given by such applicant. This is just I am entering into the procedure now. How to file patent application? It can be filed online, it can be filed offline. Now, general process through which a patentee has to go is outlined here. Filing of a patent application, then publication after 18 months, pre-grant opposition / representation by any person, because once it gets published, goes into the public domain. Others who are interested in the field, they may oppose your patent application, which you have to file. Examination by the patent office, grant or refusal, publication of the grant of patent. Then under section 25(2) of the Patents Act, the third parties are entitled to file a post-grant opposition against your patent within a period of 1 year. Once it goes through all this, if the decision by the controller comes in your favor, then the patent becomes valid. You can ask for the certification of validation. It is challenged, it has been upheld and considered as worth to remain under the patent regime for a period of 20 years. So just because your patent is granted to you, don't think that it is a final approval of your patented invention. It may get challenged, it may get revoked, it may get cancelled. But once it is challenged, it is upheld by the controller or High Court in a litigation, you will be entitled to ask for a certificate of validity. And if somebody subsequently challenges it, you are entitled to get damages also. Requisites for filing a patent application. List of documents, covering letter, application for grant of patent in Form 1, complete / provisional specification in Form 2. This is very important. I will come to it. Statement and undertaking. Rest of the things are formalities. Form 3, Form 5, Form 26 and then you will have to file request for examination, which is a separate step. When you file an application, thereafter you have to also file for request for examination. Don't think that it will be automatically examined. You will have to separately apply for it. Who can file patent application? The application can be filed alone or by jointly. You can have a joint application by any person claiming to be the true and first inventors. by persons being assignee of a person claiming to be the true and first inventors. You have to, but while doing that, you have to provide the assignment, or by a legal representative of a deceased person or an assignee. These people can file this particular patent application. Essential ingredients of the complete specification. Now we are coming to the main part wherein the inventors need to explain, and that is the biggest difficulty because inventors do not normally wish to disclose complete data, which is a pre-requirement of grant of patent. Title and preamble, prior art, what is known, what was known, from where you started, all that has to be. That's why I said your base for research is the day you are identifying the prior art. What was known, what is known, what is exactly happening in the market. Drawbacks in the prior art. You have to identify what are the drawbacks of the prior art. What efforts you have done, what is the solution to the drawbacks, how you have solved that problem. Summary of the invention. You have to write entire summary. Statement of the invention, exact statement, what invention according to you means. There, we who protect your patent, we come into play. All this while writing this. Detailed description of invention. Detailed description with reference to the drawings. You have to refer every description with the drawing. Examples, claims. Apart from that, if you are coming into the with the invention pertaining to pharmaceutical or chemical compositions, or something, you have to actually give an example that this was analyzed for this. Like I am working on a diabetes. I have done this research. These are the clinical trials that I have conducted. Out of these clinical trials, these people have been found benefited, and out of 170 were cured permanently. These things you have to prove it with the examples and case studies. So keep those papers with you. Very important. Maintain those things. Then claims. Most important part of your complete specification. Claim is like a boundary wall. Walchand Institute of Technology has 1 acre of plot. How? Record says so. Boundary wall is there. Claim is like that. Your claims are your boundary walls. A patent claim can be defined as a sentence in a patent application that explains an invention's feature and components. In other words, a patent claim describes the functionality of an invention and its corresponding features which has to be patented. Typically, patent claims are enlisted at the end of the patent application. As per Section 10(4)(c) of the Patents Act 1970, every complete specification must end with the patent claim or patent claims, which aims to define the scope of the invention for which the protection is claimed. Patent claims play a pivotal role in the patent application. For one, it prevents the unauthorized parties from duplicating or commercially exploiting the features and components of functionalities enlisted in the claims. Patent claims must be described in detail, leaving no room for ambiguities and speculations. Apart from comprehensive descriptions, diagrams, flowcharts, and geographical representations of the invention would immensely strengthen and support the claims that are enlisted in an application. So, when you support every claim of yours with the diagrams, description, and it has a supporting backward examples, that helps the judge who will actually decide your infringement suit to understand it in a better way and protect it for you. You, as a researcher, you, as an expert in the particular field, please keep this thing in the mind when you are writing, that you are not writing your claims for yourself. You are not writing your claims for the persons who are in your field. You are writing your claims for the judge who will ultimately decide that particular matter when somebody infringes your patent. That judge could be BALLB. He may be from the field of arts. He may be from the field of commerce. So today, Write it in the fashion that you are actually making him understand at the inception. You leave a room, you are in trouble of another interpretation. Keep that thing in mind when you are actually drafting or giving information to your attorney who is drafting your. We try always to extract maximum information so that we can put it in the complete specification and make complete specification more comprehensive as well as rational and simple. Don't try to have a fanciful claim which nobody will understand. Now, parts of the patent claim. Preamble. A preamble is a very first component of the patent. For example, an apparatus for moisture protection. This is your preamble. It should be there everywhere in your claim. So the judge understands an apparatus for moisture protection. We are talking about transitional phrases. Transitional phrases can be defined as phrases that interlink the preamble of a claim to the components described in the claim. Example, comprising, consisting, comprising of, essentially of, comprising essentially of, including. All these are transitional phrases. An apparatus for moisture protection comprising, broad claim. An apparatus for moisture protection comprising of, definitely it comprises. An apparatus for moisture protection comprising essentially of, it must comprise. An apparatus for moisture protection including, it may include, it may not include. An apparatus for moisture protection preferably consisting of, it may not. Preference is always to these components. Construction of simple English, making different senses. These words are interpreted at least for now 100 years. So when we ask for the information, we say, what do you mean by? What do you think about your patent? Now let's take the example of that four-legged stool again. Let's, for a understanding of ours, correct me if I'm wrong. A four-legged stool comprising of the fourth leg. I am limiting myself. A four-legged stool comprising essentially of the fourth leg. A four-legged stool comprising four or more legs. Draft, thinking that everybody wants to infringe you. Except you, nobody wants your patent to be valid. Except you, everybody wants to come into your property. Have CCTV cameras on your property. Something. Body of the claim. Final part of the claim which that connects the preamble through transitional phase. Now further we will go. It's a wonderful world of drafting of a patent. I personally like it. I don't know others. Independent and dependent claims. An independent claim can be defined as a claim consisting of the limitations necessary to define an invention. So, in India, we do not actually recognize independent claims in one patent. We follow the concept of unity of invention. One application, one invention. But in United States, you can have n number of claims in one particular application and cover it by paying extra fees. So same instrument, a moisture protection instrument, I can claim it for something else also in one particular application because I am claiming the same instrument. In India, it's difficult to add. They will say you divide the application into two. You are trying to save your money. Now, mean plus function claim. Mean plus function claim can be defined as a claim that describes the functionality of the particular feature present in the invention. We just said a moisture protection function. A mean claim does not specify any particular structure. Type of claims. Apparatus claim. An apparatus claim describes a device or a network of system that exists within the invention. I'm just describing the apparatus as it is. Simple description. Method claim. Method claim outlines the processes and steps that are carried out by the invention to provide an output. 1, 2, 3, 4. Output is this. Stepwise. Method. Normally, the process claims are like this. When I'm claiming any process of manufacturing something, 12 hours of curing. After that, you get a substratum. From that substratum, you will get this. These are A, B, C steps. Method claim. Especially in the chemistry, when you claim the product, normally we claim the process also in this way. How to reach that product. Composition claim. A composition claim is normally present when an invention that is composed of chemical is being patented. So it is composed of, it is comprising of many things. Composition claim. Now we will go to the next specialized kind of claims, which are much broader in their interpretation. Marcus claim. Marcus claim are the claims that are allowed in Indian Patent Office. It basically covers a group of elements or compounds falling in one category. Aldehyde, ketone, carboxyl group. A benzene ring having R1 explained in claim 1. Second claim, a benzene ring having R1 wherein R1 is an aldehyde group. Same type of elements, things can be covered in the Marcus claim. So the claim is broader. If anybody takes anything from the aldehyde group and tries to replace your preferred claim, third claim in that kind of thing can be a benzene ring having R1 as an aldehyde group, wherein preferably aldehyde group comprises of. So you narrow it down from 1, 2, 3 and preference is given to your preferred invention. But if someone takes something else from the aldehyde group, since your second claim covers entire aldehyde group, you can sue them. Jepson claim. Jepson claim are used when invention is improvisation or modification of existing technology. An improved tea maker wherein you have to just explain what is the improvement. Swiss type claims are not allowed in India, but in United States, yes, they are allowed because they claim new use of a known thing. These Beauregard claims are the claims that are used for software and algorithm related inventions where multiple instructions are to be covered in one application. Because it's a set of instructions in a computer generated related invention. So you use this type A, B, C, D steps, something similar to process claim, but you are actually claiming a product algorithm. So that is called as Beauregard claim. Main steps of patenting procedure. Filing of an application at the patent office, filing of a for request, then publication, examination, pre-grant opposition, grant of patent, and post-grant opposition. These all the steps you have to go through. Once it is done, if somebody is not opposing your patent, then it will be considered as relatively valid patent. But your patent, if opposed by some party and you succeed in that particular opposition, it will get much more enforceability in the eyes of law. This flowchart explains how the patent procedure works. Filing of a patent application with complete specification or with provisional specification. I just said, don't publish, don't rush into publication. You as an individual can go to the patent office with your 3-pager document setting out what the invention is. Pays as a individual, you will have to pay only 1750 rupees. 1750 with the patent office with your provisional specification. Get a date protected, then go for publication. If you think that after a year's time, no, it's not patented, don't go further. If you think that yes, it is worth patenting, you are getting good reports on it, go for complete specification. Your complete specification will then get accepted. Publication under section 11A will take place after 18 months. Even after filing of a complete specification within 12 months, same publication will happen. It will be open for pre-grant opposition under section 25(1) of the Patents Act. Simultaneously, examination will happen, hearing will take place, and after hearing, you will get a order from the controller under section 15 whether your patent is granted or it is refused. He is also entitled to narrow down your claim, amend your claim, modify your claim at each stage. So if the entire claim is not patentable, we reduce down to the most preferred ones. That is also possible. This we talked about, but the whole concept is called as patent mining. At the inception, we talked about this. Why patent mining? As a researcher, you should be keeping yourself abreast of all the technologies and science in your field. For that, patent mining is needed. As an institution, if any institution, IIT, they should also do that because you have batches. Last batch has worked upon certain thing. Next batch can work further with beautiful mind, next mind, fresh mind. And that can become your own invention, which you have done, which is now patented, can become a base for your further invention. That's why patent mining is required. You should not forget that, oh, I have patented, now it is done. It's a wonderful resource for starting as a base. You can commercially exploit it. Sometimes it happens that your technology is too ahead of the times, that it is not patentable at that way. It is not commercially exploitable at that point of time. But after 10 years, it becomes. At that point of time, that's why you should do constant patent mining of your own institution as well as others. What is happening? So that at the right time, you can commercially exploit it, start research on the basis of that. Further research can be done. Patent mapping is something which is important for any institution who is commercially exploiting it. Map, world map, where I have a patent, where I do not have a patent, where others do not have a patent, I can go, I can enter into that particular country because it is free of patent. I can manufacture there, I can sell there. An exercise which is always advisable when an institution like this is there. There are countries which do not recognize the patent regime at all in the world. So those are also market available. So you should map, okay, this patent, this technology is patented, this technology is patented here, But these are the countries who are free for my operation. That's why I said, now no researcher, no institution can say that, oh, we don't know. You need to understand patent. And it is my endeavor as a patent attorney and advocate practicing in the field of patents to reach out to the public at large. I want to tell to the people, look, this is where you have to start with. My endeavor is India INC should ultimately benefit out of it. It also helps in identifying the relationship between these patents, identify if there are any places that there might be an infringement, simultaneously there might not be an infringement. Maximization of commercialization. Ultimately, it is a commercial world wherein we are talking about commercialization of IP rights. A little bit of much more technical thing, but I'll try to make it as simple as possible. We normally hear I have international patent. Some people say that, oh, I have an international patent. Nobody in the world has an international patent. Patents are always national. There is nothing called international patenting. We understand in a language which is colloquial language that it is an international patent, but it is actually a patent either applied through conventions or treaties for which India is a signatory. One of such treaty is very important, that is Patent Cooperation Treaty. This is an international treaty with more than 154 contracting states, which we signed in December 1998. And being a signatory to this treaty, it enables you to file multiple applications. Multiple application means single application will allow you to get into multiple national phase entries. This is a single window system which allows you to select designated countries and then prosecute your further application through that countries. There is another treaty that is called as Paris Convention, and these two treaties which we utilize for the sake of making applications outside India. Paris Convention is normally utilized wherein the person is fully aware about where his market is. Not many countries are required to be protected. 4-5 countries you can directly go into. And that's why we suggest directly entering into national phase after filing of complete specification through Paris Convention. Another is a phase. This particular Paris Convention application is to be filed within a period of 12 months from the date of first filing in India. Another is a treaty, that is Paris Convention Treaty, wherein you get a lot of options open. One application which you will have to file along with your complete specification within a period of 12 months will allow you to make applications in multiple designating countries who are signatories to this particular treaty. The granting of the patent remains under the control of the national or regional patent office in what we call it as a national phase. When you enter after 31 months in the national phase in the particular country, that country will re-examine your application. But because of this particular one window system, you don't need to personally file it in each country, and those difficulties are taken away. So advantages of PCT filing. A single application in a single language filed in single country is called as international application. So your application is international, not the patent. The single application has an effect of filing simultaneously in different countries, that is all designated countries. You have to select, I want to select America, Europe, Japan, South Africa, Australia, New Zealand. So you have to just pick on, and then your application, you can file it in those countries subsequently. So it saves you on the day one a lot of efforts to file it separately through separate attorneys, giving them all the documentation which is required. and that documentation can be saved by virtue of filing one single application that is called as international application under PCT filing. Steps involved in PCT. Filing of an international application to the receiving office. India is one of the receiving offices. So you can directly go and file your international application in India, Indian Patent Office. International search by an international searching authority. Very important aspect of PCT is about your patentability worldwide. You get an international searching authorities report. You have to file one single application. You have to identify the searching authority. They will give you they will carry out the international preliminary examination report, and they will give you the report examination, and then they will give you the report. That report will enable you to analyze where you are lacking in your patent application. So it is a very good step for strategizing what I am entitled to get preliminary, what I am not entitled to get. On the basis of, you can identify the places. This is something, identify the places in your application where your technology is lacking, where your technology is having the potential of getting the patent registered in particular country. So that analysis will allow you to further invest into further application or not. If the entire application gets marred by your novelty or inventive step and the report is negative, you may rethink of investing further. So your fees are saved. Your international preliminary examination report will give you the idea about your patentability, and you can strategize further about whether you want to pursue that patent in various countries or not. So saving of a lot of cost is there. The international preliminary examination by an international preliminary examination authority will, that's what I'm saying, enabling you to identify weaknesses and strengths of your patent application. Where to file that application? Nationals and residents of India can file an application for an international application with the Indian Patent Office at Delhi, Chennai, Mumbai or Kolkata as a receiving office, RO. Or you can directly file it with the International Bureau of WIPO as a receiving office. So you have both the choices. We normally file it in India and we allow them to transmit it to WIPO. The purpose is to make it easy for the applicant. You have to file a request on form PCT RO 101 accompanied by description, claims, abstract, and the drawings if required of the invention in English or Hindi. Hindi is also allowed. The international application to be filed in triplicate. Fees payable depends upon the entities, different entities, small entity, individual. These are the different entities that are, you have to pay fees accordingly. International filing date. The receiving office in India accords the international filing date and date of receipt of the international application after following checks. The applicant is a resident or national of India. The international application is either in Hindi or English. The international application contains at least following elements. These are the checkers. What is an indication that it is intended as an international application? The designation of at least one contracting state, the name of the applicant as prescribed, a part of which on the face of it appears to be a description. So you have to file a description of your own invention along with the international application also, and a part of which on the face of it appears to be the claims or claims. So you have to file claims also along. That's why we file it along with the complete specification, because provisional specification we don't file any claims along with it. The international filing date is considered to be the actual filing date in each country designated in the request. So there are two fundamentals on international filing. One, your priority date will be your date of application in the first country, that is India. If it is 1st January 2000, then 1st January 2000 is your priority date. If you file within 12 months PCT, that is 1st January 2001, it will be your date for international application filing date. So these two dates are different, and your protection is calculated for 20 years from the date of first priority, that is 1st January 2000. RO keeps one copy of the international application for record named as home copy. RO sends one copy of the international application to the International Bureau of WIPO named record copy, and RO sends one copy to the international application for the International Searching Authority named as search copy. every international application is subject to international search by an international searching authority. An applicant may opt for international preliminary examination by an international preliminary examination authority, IPEA. Few patent offices in the world have been recognized by WIPO to function as an international searching authority and international preliminary examination authority under the PCT. The Indian Patent Office has been recognized and started functioning as a ISA IPEA from 15th of October 2013, saving a lot of our cost because the cost involved in international searching authorities thing is more than $1,000. So it is around 1,296, am I correct? Dollars in United States to be paid, which if you search for through India, saving will be there. That's a main advantage of designating India as a searching authority. ISA and IPA for IA filed with RO and India. RO in India, an applicant from India can choose any one of the following ISA IPA for international searching and preliminary examination. If you are seriously pursuing any patent and you want to enter into United States and Europe, it is better for you to, at the stage of initial, you should select that country as a international preliminary examination authority. The reason is they will accept their own search more than what you are doing here. So if it is a very important and commercially valuable product which you want to invention, then you should go for that searching authority as a strategy, because that will have more persuasive value at the time of national phase entry. So Indian Patent Office works, as I said, Australian Patent Office, Austrian Patent Office, European Patent Office, each has a different fee for that particular. The fees we will have to pay the same, but each one will send you separate bills for what they are doing. International Searching Authority establishes International Search Report ISR, which identifies the published patent documents and technical literature prior art, which may have an influence on whether the invention is patentable. ISA also establishes written opinion of Search Authority, WOSA. They give you a written opinion on this, whether it is patentable or potential patentability in the particular country, that they will actually tell you. Your invention is actually not an invention within the meaning of the act because of the cited patent. This patent is marring your invention. It is not, you will not be able to get rid of that particular cited document. So you can also get ready with that particular objection in the national phase entry. These are all strategies which one has to use for getting the patent registered and maximized in each country separately. That is something which you use it as a tool. It's a tool basically. How you use it to the best to your advantage, depending upon each and every invention, is depending upon the strategy which you adopt with your own attorney. ISA also establishes written opinion, publication by WIPO. The international application along with the international search report is published by WIPO after an expiry of 18 months from the priority date of the application. So it gets published once you apply. That allows others also to oppose your patent application in that country if they are if you are entering into national phase. Because it is published already through the WIPO, they get a date, they keep a watch on your patent application, they will oppose your entry in that country. So this is also one of the factors which you have to keep it in mind when you are using this PCT as a tool. While if you are going through the Paris Convention, you will directly go and enter into that particular country. It may help you if you are having lesser number of countries when you want to enter. International Preliminary Examination, IPE. After establishing of ISR and publication by WIPO, the applicant may opt for International Preliminary Examination. IPEA establishes International Preliminary Report on Patentability. If the applicant does not opt for IPE, the International Bureau of WIPO publishes International Preliminary Report on Patentability. Filing for IPE. This is quite, I can't make it much more easier than this. This is really seriously hyper technical. When to choose, where to choose, what to do. All these strategies are important. Strategizing is required along with your attorney. You have to sit with him, decide where to go, which way to go, whether to opt for patent cooperation treaty or whether to opt for Paris Convention. All these are strategies per application depending upon the requirements we decide along with the applicant. You will have to pay the preliminary examination fee and handling fee to the RO when you are applying. International preliminary examination. IPEA carries out an additional patentability analysis for you. IPEA sends you a written opinion in the docketed format. Applicant may make amendments to the international application. This is very important. When you receive IPEA, you analyze the IPEA's report, make the amendments to the suitability so that you can escape the potential threat from third parties or opposition accordingly. IPEA establishes international preliminary report on patentability. That's how when you enter into national phase, the first question that particular national entry, after when you enter into that particular country, the receiving office, the national phase office, that is if you are entering into Canada, suppose, they will ask you submit your IPEA. On that basis, they will again examine your application, and on that basis, they will decide whether to grant. So once you already have IPEA in your hand, you can then analyze, you can amend your application accordingly, and you can escape the potential opposition in the national phase when you enter that national phase. National phase. After the end of PCT procedure, either after international search or after international preliminary examination, and before 30 or 31st month from the priority date, applications for the grant of patents can be filed before national patent offices of the countries in which patent prosecution is desired. So, if you are making an application on 1st of January 2000, after that, within 30th or 31st month, you have to decide whether I want to enter into particular country's national phase. Means I have designated 80 countries at the time of filing of my first application, PCT application. My international searching authorities report says it is not patentable because it is published. I understand publication that there are two kinds of publication. One is European publication, one is US publication. Because publication and prior art and knowledge, prior knowledge in United States means whatever is known in United States. And publication outside of United States means known anywhere in the world, like in India. So I know this is published in India, but it is not published in United States. So I'll enter only into United States. I'll allow my other applications to lapse. I will not enter into national phase. Strategizing, what to do, what not to do. At each stage, you have to do this per application. There is no formula for it. You have to analyze each patent separately. You have to identify where your weaknesses are. It is something like a SWOT analysis per application. The filing procedure, fee and processing are as per the requirements of national law. So when you enter into that national phase after 31st month from the priority date, you have to pay separately fees. You have to separately appoint an attorney over there. He will deal with your application, and the examination will be again carried out in the national phase, and they will thereafter, when you meet with that objections and examination, you will get a patent over there. Now let's take an example. I know I have to go to only United States and one or two more countries. I don't want to get into any other countries, 154 countries, whatever is listed. I will go for patent cooperation treaty because on 12th month I will go and apply. I will go there. I'll get my particular that application examined in the particular country, and I'll go through the specific attorney and I'll get the patent. This is one of the way. When I do not want to go into multiple locations, that's why I said what is important is mapping. Where I want to go. This particular country has I think I have a specific value, commercial value. I have a client, they are into manufacturing of fishing nets. If you are having a patent for fishing nets, and if you are entering where there is no seashore around, what is the point in going into that? Why should I invest? Why should I waste my money? Why should I invest? I will directly go to the countries where maximum fishing is done. So my net will have maximum value over there, commercial value, utilization. So that is something which you have to actually think, and then depending upon the commercial value, depending upon the enforceability of that particular patent in that country, you should go. Many a times we tell our client, oh, you want to enter into this country, definitely no problem, you will get a patent for this, but enforceability is absolutely zero. The reason is you can't afford attorney fees over there when there is an infringement. Happens. That is something which we have to keep it in mind when you are entering into international, so-called international patentability. That's why I said there is nothing called international patent. Each patent is a national patent. We have to think about each country separately. This is just a window which allows you to file one single application, preserving your date, and you can later in the 31st month, you can decide, I want to go there after having the international preliminary examination report in your hand, amending your existing application to suit the needs of the patentability in each country. And this is a very meticulous exercise that each attorney will have to do when he is handling your PCT application. Because when I make an application, suppose take an example, I am making an application for an invention wherein in one invention I am claiming, one application I am claiming multiple things, which is allowable in United States, but it is not allowable anywhere else. So then I will have to think about whether I should divide that application in the national phase. And if the division of application costs me more, then I should do it or not. That each stage I have to explain to my client, and I have to get his approval, and then only we go ahead with this. So that's why I said when I started this session, I said it's hyper technical. One has to sit with the client each time. One has to explain to him that this is the thing that you have to go. But for the today's session, we are at the, I do not want to trouble you with this kind of hyper technical things. As far as today's session is concerned, I just wanted to put to you is this. There are two different treaties. One is Paris Convention and another is PCT. Paris Convention allows you to make an application within a period of 12 months to the particular country by claiming your priority. And PCT allows you multiple countries entries in through one entry, and the date is 31st month, 30th month or 31st. You get extra time to decide whether you want to actually go into particular country. This is the benefit of both systems. That's all you should know right now, because otherwise you will get confused about this system and you will think, why should I enter into all this nonsense? Don't think it is. When you will come with this kind of application, we will make you sit in front of computer and we will show you what is there. That is how it is. So this is the overall flow chart. I'll just give you the timelines under PCT. Application filed with Patent Office in India, priority date. International application has to be filed with PCT receiving office within a period of 12 months. 16th month, your application will be transmitted to you with written opinion. Publication of your ISR and application within 18 months. Applicant requests for supplementary international, if you want to do, that is optional. Applicant files a demand for international preliminary examination report. This is also optional. Transmittal of this report, optional. And then you have to decide PCT national phase entry where the applicant seeks protection. This is the timeline in which we will have to work when you are entering PCT. As far as this session is concerned, sir, this is over. I will not trouble these people after lunch with this kind of hypotechnology. I should not be doing this, because many a times we have to also refer back to each and every country's law. See, another angle, I don't want to bombard you. We actually need to get into the law of each country, look at patentability definition, look at everything, and then decide for that client whether we want to enter. Otherwise, just entering, going there, making it actually wastes your money, which is hard-earned money of anybody, which we never tell to our client unnecessarily enter into one kind. You can do that if you have too much of money, like you are those kind of pharmaceutical giants. Otherwise, it is not worth for any institution when you are entering into this kind of arena. You have to identify the particular country, its laws, whether I'll get a protection, and if I get a protection, whether I'll be able to persuade the thing if somebody infringes. 4-5 factors you have to keep in mind. Because attorney fees in many countries are jaw-dropping. You can't do anything on it. That's all as far as this session is concerned.